Hey, welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take really fascinating, sometimes complex source material and break it down into a clear, focused story. And today we are diving into something truly profound. We're going to talk about a kind of spiritual alchemy that might be happening inside your very own body.
So let's just jump right in with a big question, one that kind of frames everything we're about to explore. I want you to forget about treasure maps, distant lands, all that stuff. What if? What if the greatest quest you could ever go on, the real hero's journey, wasn't out there somewhere, but was actually happening inside you, like a transformation just waiting to be unlocked?
Okay, so the core concept we're digging into today is called blood etherization. Now, according to the source material we're looking at, this is a pretty wild idea. It's this esoteric process where our actual physical blood gets transformed or maybe refined into a subtle spiritual substance, an etheric current, they call it. And this current, well, it starts to rise up from the heart, making its way to the head, all with one goal: to elevate our consciousness, to take us to a whole new level.
So you might be asking, where does a journey like this even begin, right? Well, it all kicks off in a place we think we know so well, but which, according to this, holds a massive secret, and that's the human heart.
All right, so normally, what do we think of when we think of the heart? It's a pump, right? A brilliant biological machine, sure, but still just a physical organ that's going to wear down over time. That's entropy. But the esoteric view? Whoa, it's a completely different story. It sees the heart as the moral center of who we are. It's the real seat of our I, our identity. It's not just pumping blood, it's the launch pad for spiritual ascension. And get this, it's supposedly linked to a force of levity, something that pushes against decay. And that brings us to another huge piece of this puzzle, something called the etheric body. The best way to think about it is like an invisible blueprint of energy. It's the scaffolding that builds and holds up our physical body. It's pure life force. And the source material is really clear. This isn't some vague, fuzzy aura. No way. It's a living record that holds the imprints of everything you've ever been, everything you are now, and everything you're going to become. It's the actual field where this whole transformation happens. Okay, so we've got the heart as the launch pad and the etheric body as the space it's all happening in. So, how do you actually start? How do you answer that call to begin this climb? Well, the source material gives us this awesome metaphor. It says the very first step before anything else is to tame the dragon in yourself. And that's not about fighting some beast out in the world. It's about mastering the one inside. It's about getting a handle on our lower instincts, right? Our knee-jerk reactions, our base desires. It's all about becoming the master of your own inner kingdom. So what's really important here is that this journey isn't something that just happens to you. It's not handed down from on high. It's a path of self-initiation. It's a conscious choice. It's you deciding to actively purify your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, to create the right conditions for this whole process to even kick off. So how does this actually work? Is it just a vague idea? Not at all. The source lays it out as a structured path. It's a clear progression through 4 distinct stages. Think of them like trials on this inner hero's journey. So this path is basically a climb up through your upper energy centers, or chakras. It's got 4 key stages. First, you start in the heart with what's called sutrayana. This is all about cultivating pure morality and virtue. Then you move up to the throat with mantrayana, where you start using the power of sound, of pure words and mantras. After that, it's up to the brow, the third eye, with vajrayana, which is all about visualizing yourself as a higher, more divine being. And the final step? You reach the crown with tantrayana, where you stop just visualizing and you actually embody that divinity. And what's so cool about this is the logic of it, right? It's so elegant. You're going from intention all the way to embodiment. You start by purifying your morality in your heart. Then you learn to express that with sound from your throat. Then you learn to see it clearly with your third eye. And finally, you just become it at the crown. It's a whole system for a complete personal transformation. Okay, this is where it gets really good. This is the climax of the whole journey. We've talked about all the spiritual work, the morality, the visualization. But how does that actually cause a physical change inside the brain? Let's get into the anatomy of this spiritual alchemy. First off, the source makes this really fascinating distinction between the head and the heart. It says the head is like our perfected past. It's a finished system, a mirror of the cosmos. But the heart is the present. It's this dynamic center of morality where something brand new can start. So the whole point of this journey is to take that new potential from the heart and have it rise up to transform the old perfected structure of the head.
So where does this all go down? The source points to two tiny little glands deep inside the brain and calls them the alchemical chamber. You've got the pineal gland, which gets this amazing name, the Grail Castle. And then you've got the pituitary gland, which is called the gatekeeper. These two little spots, that's the physical stage where this whole incredible transformation is supposed to happen.
So how does this even work? Well, this is where it gets wild. The source actually connects this to a real scientific process called biomineralization. You see, as we get older, our bodies produce these tiny little crystals of calcium carbonate in the pineal gland. Some scientists even call it brain sand. Now, the esoteric teaching here is that the quality of our spiritual and moral work directly affects the structure of those very crystals.
And here's the crucial part, the whole point. When you reach a certain level of moral development, these crystals in your pineal gland are said to create a tiny spark, a piezoelectric spark to be precise. It's a literal flash of light, a physical event triggered by a purely spiritual effort. All your hard work on yourself creates a spark. And that spark, it gets an answer. This is what the source calls cosmic nutrition. That little spark stimulates the pituitary gland, remember, the gatekeeper, and causes it to release hormones. In ancient texts, these are described as nectar or ambrosia. It's basically a form of spiritual food, a reward from the cosmos that nourishes your body in a completely new, higher way.
So that brings us to the end game. After all this, the journey, the trials, the inner alchemy, what do you become? What's the final result? Well, according to our source, in traditions like Tibetan Buddhism, someone who actually completes this journey earns a title. They become known as a rainbow warrior. And that's not just a cool name, it symbolizes reaching a whole new, higher state of being.
So what does this actually look like in the final stage? Well, that spark between the pineal and pituitary glands, it doesn't just flash once and disappear. It becomes a steady arc of light. And this arc is said to create a visible rainbow that shines out from the third eye, right between the eyebrows. I mean, that's the ultimate symbol of enlightenment, isn't it? The physical and the spiritual have finally merged, and it opens up a direct line to higher consciousness. And so we're left with this. Look, whether you take this all literally or as a really powerful metaphor for self-development, the core idea is pretty staggering. It's the idea that your inner world, your thoughts, your morality, your consciousness can actually create real tangible change in your physical body. And if that's true, even a little bit, it leaves us with one heck of a question. What are the limits of what we can become? What's our true potential? Thanks for exploring that with us today on The Explainer.